I guess we can get into one of the juiciest stories of the past week. How the apple Crumbleys. Huh? Yeah, you thought I wasn't going to pull that one out. Gotcha, motherfuckers.
Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha. Yes. The
apple
kid.
Crumbleys.
Yes, sir. It's how the apple crumb. You know, hey, that's how the cookie.
You want to fill people in?
Yeah. So, for those of you who may or may not know about this, I'm just gonna, explain it anyway. So over the past week, there was a mass shooting at a school in Oxford in Michigan, and basically the kid killed. I think his name's Ethan Crumbly.
Is it Ethan or Evan? I get him confused. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Ethan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The kid Ethan Crumbly murdered 4 people, 4 like fellow students, and also injured a teacher as well. And so basically the whole thing that's kind of making this case blow up, and that's kind of made it different, I guess, from other school shootings, is the fact that his parents were charged with 4 counts of negligent homicide each. Because basically they bought this kid a gun for Christmas.
Was it for Christmas?
Yeah, it was.
Christmas. I thought it was just.
Yeah, it was this Christmas because Americans do things like that. I'm gonna get you a gun for your Christmas present. Like,
I thought it was just something that they bought.
I'm not gonna get you a book. I'm not gonna get you PlayStation. No, I'm gonna get you a gun. That's what you're gonna get for Christmas. Which for me is just like it's just crazy. But hey, that's a conversation for a different day. But basically, they gave him this gun. And then he was caught looking at ammunition on his phone at school. And the teachers immediately SOS'd his parents and said, hey, like, this is not cool. Like, this kid, you have to tell him that kind of stuff is unacceptable. He can't do that. And then his parents were like, his mom literally texted him and was like, yeah, you need to learn not to get caught.
Yeah.
That's what his mom actually texted to him. Like, I'm not paraphrasing. She literally said that. And then the day of the shooting, he's caught having drawn on a piece of paper basically a fellow student getting shot, and like bullets, like blood everywhere, and he had written "help me" or something like that, something along those lines on the page as well. Obviously the school was like, yo, what the hell? They called the parents in. Obviously they were in the office, principal's office / headmaster, whatever term you use, and they obviously explained to the parents what the situation was, and they were like, listen, he needs to get professional help, and we would prefer that he doesn't stay at school today. You take him home with you. And the parents were like, oh no, we want him to stay. We want him to stay and we want him to finish the day and whatever. And the school was like, okay.
You done fucked up now!
That's what they fucked up. Like, there's no way
and
at school.
Then he went back to class and proceeded to commit the mass shooting.
Right.
With the gun that was still in his backpack. Why? Because the parents didn't bother to ask him where the gun was. The school didn't know that he had a gun. So the school was never going to be like, yo, since we know you have a gun, do you have a gun on you? The parents knew, though, that he had a gun, and they didn't think to ask him where the gun was. And, yeah.
That's crazy to me. Like, for me, hearing that story, one, it's wild. Like, my thing is this. For one, I was like, the parents got arrested? And then when I heard, the day before, dad bought the gun, and then I also heard the mom was like, oh, I'm not even mad at you. You just need to learn how to get caught. I was like, what? And then on top of that, I feel like somebody at that damn school is negligent also.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's no in hell I'm finna let this kid come at the fucking class.
Yeah.
It's no in hell I'm finna let you, Karen, say, no, my kid's staying. No, your kid's going with you.
No, your kid's going with you. Your kid's not coming back into
Your
this
kid's
class
not
until
coming
we
back.
can be sure that he's not a threat to the other students. 100%, which is what I don't understand. If you and I can agree on that, and we're in our 20s, mid-20s, we're talking about people who've been in the school institution for years now. Some of these people are probably, 50, 60, 40s even. how do you make that error? How do you make that error in judgment and say, okay, cool, yeah, you can come back to class?
Because of pressure. But my thing is this. It's like, it's no way he's going back to class. And also, fuck them damn parents. They horrible as a child.
Horrible.
Like, it was also a thing to report that the call, it was like a text between him and his mom. Was like, okay, cool. I think what she was like saying that she thinks her son, they found out the gun wasn't at home.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say anything.
She said, yeah, she texted him. Well, after they had found out about the shooting, she texted him, "Please don't do it." And I was like, you know it's him, and you know your son was dangerous. And
I think the "please don't do it" was before the shooting actually happened. But even still, and it's like, bruh, there's so many like fucking like errors and variables in this thing. Yeah. This thing that just doesn't, to me, it's just like, man, come on now. This is, yeah. It's
just nuts. And then the parents,
all of it should have been avoided.
And then the parents went on the run.
Exactly.
Their lawyer was covering for them, saying no, they just left the town or left their home for their safety. They will be coming back.
Here's the thing.
Cap, they were on the run.
Here's the thing. Ain't nowhere in hell if their complexion was a little bit darker. Yes. I had to play this card.
No, you're right.
Ain't no running. Ain't no running, bitch.
It wouldn't have happened because, and it's crazy because
I don't want to play that card. Yeah. I don't want to say just because they were whatever.
Yeah.
But ain't no running.
And please understand that we're not the type of guys to just, like, we make a lot of like race jokes and stuff like that. It is purely for entertainment purposes for our platform. But Jay and I aren't the type of dudes to just pull out the race card or be like,
right.
Oh, it's like, no. But when it actually applies in the situation, it applies.
And you know something else I seen that was like crazy to me?
Yeah.
And, you know, I usually don't play into the whole internet thing, but it was like, they had showed, at first they was going with the picture of him like looking like a 13-year-old with his hands like, oh, look at this 13-year-old shooter. He's just praying or whatever and how nice and whatever. And then like on the Shade Room, they was like, nah, show the real one.
Yeah.
Where it was like no glasses, like he just like he shot something.
Yeah, like you know you're going to jail, my guy.
Yeah.
And I agree because they don't give black people the same.
Right.
The media, that's what I mean. The media doesn't give black people that same benefit of the doubt. Oh, it's a nice kid. This is, you know, a 16-year-old who just didn't have the guidance in his life. No, when your mugshot's out there, it's out there, bro. And it makes the community look bad in the eyes of certain people. You know what I mean? But for me, it's crazy with the whole Crumbleys because the sheriff, there was some kind of mess up between the prosecution and the sheriff. The DA's office had apparently announced the charges. The sheriff says the DA's office had announced the charges before the sheriff had time to send the detectives and stuff to go get the parents. Right? So he was blaming the prosecutors and saying they made the charges before, but that's cap because if there's ever any charges coming, the sheriff's office is going to know. And then also it's like when the parents went on the run, there's this clip from CNN where he was speaking to Victor Blackwell on CNN, and the sheriff says that intuitively he doesn't think that the parents are dangerous or pose a threat to anyone. And then people are like, what do you mean intuitively? What is it about them that makes you think that they don't pose a threat? They put their child in a situation where that child was likely wanted to massacre, you know, his fellow students. The parents knew that he was on that bullshit. They didn't reprimand him, didn't take him to somebody who could see him in time. The parents have a responsibility. You know what I mean? They're clearly dangerous. On top of all the guns that they had at their crib, when the police got to the crib, they were like, oh shit, there's guns missing and there's a whole bunch of guns here. So they're armed and dangerous. Like, what do you...
Right. And so here's my thing. And here's where play white devil's advocate, right? Play white devil's advocate, as my guy, Struggle Man of God says. I would say this. Intuitively, yeah, okay, they may not have posed a threat. They probably would just, you know, they weren't going to have a shootout with the cops. Probably not. Okay, cool. I would say this. Where they was wrong is buying him the gun, knowing that the gun was gone, and not doing anything,
Yeah.
and not taking their kid home and making them keep their kid there, knowing that okay, something's up. But I will say this: before knowing all that, I was like, well, why would the parents go to jail? You can't control a kid where the kids go. That's the thing about having kids. You can do everything in your power to whatever with that kid, but you can't control what that kid's going to do. So yeah, they put them. I say they go to jail for putting him in that situation and giving him the resources. That's what I say. They gave him the resource. They literally handed him the resources to do what he needed to do, and they did nothing to stop it. But had they not bought the gun, or the mom when I said, "Oh, I'm not mad at you," all that bullshit. Okay, cool. You can't control what he did, but you did, and you did in essence, and you are guilty for giving him the tools to do it. You literally bought him the gun and had the whole picture, mom and son buying whatever, and then you literally, don't do it, and then you have the text messages and you have all this, and you still neglect
called
to
in the morning of the shooting. You don't check the backpack. Like,
I mean, okay, cool, fuck the damn backpack, because you're not gonna check your damn child's backpack every morning. Bullshit. But I will say this: you put him in a you let a situation grow that you knew was fucked up. And I'm not. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you gotta bear the brunt of that.
No, they have to take the heat for that. And like I was saying with the backpack thing, it's the moment when they were shown the drawing of him, and they knew that he had possession of the gun. His gun was never in his parents' possession. He obviously kept the gun in his room or whatever. But as a parent,
they had it locked. They had it in a drawer, and the dad looked in the drawer, or it was either dad or mom looked in the drawer, and then they.
So they say.
Oh well,
that's
what the story was that I heard.
And that's my whole thing, because it's like, if this thing is locked, how did the kid get the gun and then put it in the backpack?
I don't think it was locked.
And they see exactly. So even if it was in there, how are you not gonna lock it? You know what I mean? Like, it should be locked, because now you've been given evidence that your son is planning on committing a mass shooting.
And you still say, "No, I want my son to stay there."
And you still say, "I want my son to stay there." And you don't say to him, "Did you bring your gun with you to school? Is your gun in your backpack?" That's what I, as a parent, would have done. Because I would have been like, "Were you planning on using your gun? Do you have your gun with you? Show me your backpack." That's what I would have done as a parent.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's when you check the backpack.
Yeah.
I thought you was talking about check the backpack in the morning. Or
No. I meant on that, once they knew, like in the office with the principal, "Son, open your backpack." That's what they should have done.
And then also, I feel like the fucking principal and whoever else was there is nowhere in hell I'm letting this fucking kid, after we just discovered all this damn weird ass shit he did, this damn drawing, is nowhere in hell I'm letting this kid go back into this max people. I don't care if it's just for a day. This kid's not coming back on campus. This kid is leaving campus, whether with you or with the damn police. Yeah, he's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
And that's just I feel like the principal has some bear the brunt of that too. Or whoever was in charge of him, that sit down situation.
I feel bad, because I definitely don't think it's his teacher's fault, because I feel like ultimately the decision to have to have him come back to class would have been like the principal.
The principal is who would have said and they had the whole sit down with them, whatever. Yeah, and then even then this is like, to me. The story goes, this was some stuff that happened, developed over time. It wasn't just in that one day. It was stuff that happened over time and like throughout a week or whatever. Nah, man. Nah. This dude has, like, fuck that damn kid. Yeah. And fuck them damn parents. They're trash.
Trash, bro.
And
straight trash.
Here's the thing. I'm pro Second Amendment, but it's like, still have to you still have to know, like, it has to be some form of responsibility, culpable responsibility that goes along with it, and that's the problem that I have with this. That's my ultimate problem with those damn parents. They show negligence and their kid, and they set their kid up to be in a position to where he could go fucking kill other kids.
Do you think it's a good precedent to set for the rest of the country that going forward, if there's a school shooting and it's found that the parents knew there were warning signs, or
but here's
that
the
parents actively didn't do enough to stop their kid? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So here's the thing. Here's my thing. I feel like with this case, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, with this case it's different because you have all those evidence of them knowing the signs and like, being able to say, all right, stop it. But here's the thing. Usually in these situations, you never really know. Usually in these situations, and then when it happens, like say for instance, I'm sure the parents of the Columbine shooter didn't know that their son was finna go do whatever, right?
Yeah, there's the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't have I'm sure they didn't know whatever, right? And yeah, I'm sure they probably bought the guns for the house, right? You buy the guns for the house, whatever, right? But at the same time, I do feel like this. This is where this case differs, and this is why I say they in particular are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They knew ahead of time and was able in a position to where they could stop it, and they were negligent, and they had also the thing of the dad bought the gun,
Mm-hmm.
the mom, and then the dad bought the gun within that time frame of it happening.
Mm-hmm.
The mom saw the signs. They had no communications to this child, or they had nothing. They did nothing to stop it moving further. They did nothing. They showed negligence in that. However, I don't want to be in a situation where my homeboy, he was like, yeah, this time that all these damn parents that's raising these kids that's going to shoot up schools, they get accountable too. Here's the thing. Yeah, I agree that the parents share some culpability, but it's like at the end of the day, when you have a human being in this world, you can do everything in your power to try to stop them and gear them the right way, but you ultimately can't control what they do with their life.
They're their own person. I fully agree with you.
You ultimately can't. Like, I always think back to the movie Beautiful Boy, right, with Steve Carell and Timothy Chalamet. In the movie, Steve Carell did everything in his power to help his son and give his son a better life, do everything, gave him the perfect living conditions, perfect dad, perfect come talk to me, all this or whatever, if you have a problem. And when Timothy first started having his like drug problems, dad put him in a thing, whatever, and still come talk to me, we can work this out. But then it was like he still kept regressing, he still kept making his own decisions. You can't stop somebody once a child gets to a certain age. You can't stop them from making those decisions in their life.
That's facts, though. You really can. Yeah.
And so you can say the parents are at fault. The parents are at fault in most, aside from this case. The parents were at fault. They knew and they had prior knowledge and were culpable in the whole thing that happened.
And that's why they got the 4 counts each of negligent homicide. It's not like homicide first degree. No, it's negligent because they were negligent. Their actions show that they were negligent. Right. Which makes sense. Yeah.
But like, let's say somebody that happened with the last one that happened. I forgot, where was it?
Shit, there have been so many.
Right.
It's actually scary that.
But anyway, unless I would say this, unless there are evidence that come up that show that the parents knew prior that their kid can possibly go and like do this, or their kids were on the verge of doing this, because it's also like, yeah, you can say, oh, there are signs that you can check and know that your child isn't okay. Yeah, but it's also like some kids are weird, and you can't really, at the end of the day, as a parent, you can only say, you can only do so much. Your kid is also ultimately going to make the decision that they want. So I don't want it to be a witch hunt unless necessary, unless it is proven that they had some part in it. Yeah, like they did. These parents were proven. These parents were downright. Yeah.
Facts.
Oh, you send a text message. Oh, I'm not even mad at you. You just need to not to get caught. That's gaslighting.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of parent says that. You're a very unserious parent. Apparently, Ethan has a half brother who lives in Florida with the mom, with his mom, and people are saying, "Yo, wow, dude dodged a bullet because he would have been caught up in all this." You know what I'm saying? Michigan, bro.
Man, I don't care. Like, I don't. Man, everybody talking about all these other, and that I feel like, to me, when you bring other family members in, they're just trying to water down a story of, bro, this kid just literally killed 8 other kids. Hands down.
He killed 4 other kids and injured 4? A teacher. Yeah, it was 4.
I thought it was 8.
No, it was okay. 4. Yeah, okay, 4 others and injured a teacher as well. Shot the teacher.
So sorry, this kid killed 4 kids. He should be tried to the full extent of the law.
Hell yeah. 14. The youngest one was like 14. A female. She was like 14, and I'm like, dude, she did not like fuck, dude. You know how pissed I would be if my 14-year-old daughter got killed, bro, in a fucking
over some dumb stuff,
dumb shit, school shooting, because you can't.
And my thing is this. I don't. When I hear these stories now, I don't even really just. And I really didn't think much about this case prior to when I first heard about it. I was like, oh, cool. And then my homie hit me up. He's like, hey, did you hear about the shooting? And I was crazy or whatever. I was like, yeah, I heard it, but I didn't really just go into it.
Yeah.
It happened like every other week, man. So it's sad.
It's sad.
It's sad that we got to that point. My question is to you is, how do we move forward and how do we stop this shit from happening?
Exactly. It's tough.
And the thing that I hate the most is with all this media attention, he becomes infamous now and then. So he becomes, and I think I was reading a book where it's like, it was talking about trends and how trends happen. And in this book, it was talking about like in this island, it was a trend where teenagers were committing suicide because it was a trend or whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's like, it was like the weird trends that like happens in like waves of things that happen after certain extent. And I feel like with this mass shooter thing, it's kind of one of those things. It's a trend that, oddly enough, it happens. When one happens and it gets national media attention, another one happens after, and then another one happens, and it kind of. And I feel like we give it so much attention, it makes national news all the time. You're gonna see it keep happening, and. Not to say that we should ignore it. No, we shouldn't ignore it. But we should also stop making these people famous.
I definitely agree. They shouldn't. Yeah, they should. We shouldn't make them. We definitely shouldn't make them.
Like we're gonna always know this damn kid or the fucking. He's gonna be known as the ox, whatever
Ox
killer
shooter. Yeah, you're right, dude.